morning from LA to Alex Head, who's watching in Lexington, Kentucky, trying to keep his Bengals hopes alive. We have Gronk on the show. We'll talk about that. Good morning to Benny Mac from Piedras Negras, Mexico, joining us, watching on YouTube Live, where you can watch. And you can cheers me with your coffee here in the old YouTube chat. We got it going. Wheelo and Marissa are all over it. And yes, we have Gronk on the show. And yes, I'm going to ask Gronk questions that you want answered. Something about how many bagel bites can he eat in a single serving? Sure. We'll ask him that. What do you think of Sam Howell losing the gig officially to Jacoby Brissett, who for a second straight week came in? Sam gets benched and leads them to some points and does some nice things. What about Tyrod Taylor getting the nod as the starter? Is the DeVito thing over? Are we moving on? Lots to talk about with Gronk today. And I have a programming note. We will have Mr. Deebo Samuel on a short week. Schedule changes. All of that will happen tomorrow live on the program. Let's go. Just came down the line. Tyrod Taylor, Jacoby Brissett, big game for Washington, of course. Big games all around, guys, as we're squeezing in 2 more weeks of regular season football. Both playoff pictures, a bit amok. We've got Gronk on the show to break it all down. Put up a video, a fun little chat we had yesterday. Who's the biggest threat to the Niners in the NFC? Is the Lions if they get home field advantage, or if they have to play, go through the dome there at Ford Field? Is it the feisty Rams? We're going to get into some things. The Rams, the hot little number in the NFC as far as dark horses are concerned. But we, on Wednesdays, do underreactions. And we start there, and we start in the NFC where, yeah, sure, the Rams are on a hot streak. One that, by the way, I was well ahead of in considering them a contender or somebody that could at least disrupt what's going on and run themselves in to a playoff situation. I'm a believer in what's happening in LA, and there's experience baked in. There's all of that. But there is another team that we, and not we by us, our show's all over it, but we as a sports media group are sorely underreacting to and not giving the attention they deserve because they're living in the shadow of a goat, and it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I will keep talking about them because it's my show and I can cry if I want to. They blew out the Jags on Sunday. They blew out a team that we were thinking is a contender with a top 5 quarterback, with Doug Peterson in the pedigree. They took care of business. They got not their first, or their second, or their third, no, their 4th straight win. And it's Baker Mayfield that's lighting it up. Here he is talking about the game, after the game, and the team's journey that they're on to this point.
It says a lot about the group that we've had that have gone through a big rough patch there in the midseason. So to stick it out and win 4 in a row and to be in control of our own destiny at this point is great. So that says a lot about the character we have.
Brady won a Super Bowl with that team in the middle of a global pandemic after starting so slow and having a terrible start. And it was so impressive and insane. Of course, they went on to win it. But this turnaround doesn't get talked about at all and doesn't make any sense. And it's not super comparable, but it's not dissimilar either. This team was 4-7 heading into December. That is bleak 182. That is the cover band playing the music for this Buccaneers squad. But Baker, who wasn't even given full confidence in the summer going into this gig, and certainly not with a 4-7 start, he has caught fire since, and it deserves to be talked about. And it's frankly BS that we don't talk about it. He has 9 touchdowns, just 1 interception over the winning streak, 1 pick the whole time. And it seems like he's still improving, getting better and better. 2nd most touchdowns, 4th highest passer rating over the last month. Only Lamar Jackson has a longer streak going. So if you look at the standings in the NFC South, if they get a win over the Saints this weekend, the Bucs can clinch the NFC South. They would win the division, and they have a better record than they had last year with Tom Brady. It's truly remarkable. And if they keep playing like this, you cannot convince me that they won't be able to do some damage in the NFC playoff field. Right now, they're slated to host the Cowboys. You think the Cowboys, with all their road issues, they want to go to even though it's beautiful in Florida, they want to go mess with them wild card weekend? No, they don't. So credit to what the Bucs are doing for pulling it together. Never easy to turn anything around. And what Baker's doing, so consistently. And granted, he's got Mike Evans and all of that, who we also sorely underreact to and don't pay attention to what he's perennially doing with whoever's throwing him the ball. It's just kind of weird that we're not giving them their due or their love. I don't quite know what it is, but if they take care of business against my lowly Saints, who could not get business done here in LA last week, we're onto something here with the Buccaneers. All right, let's talk about the Bills. Sorry, I slept wrong. Something's in my head. I keep doing this. I'm sorry. I'm in pain. I need some pain reliever. Okay, let's talk about tweet us, guys, at Up and Adams Show. I was doing a lot of tweeting on my flight last night with you guys and engaging, and I'm loving seeing these comments here as well, even though it always goes to top chat when I want it to go to the live chat. Okay, let's see. Hot Pockets are just fancy pizza rolls. That's one man's take. Okay, let's get you on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith with that one. Okay, let's talk about the Bills. The next underreaction that I want to get into on this Wednesday, as we do each and every week, I sort of touched on this a couple of weeks ago. I do want to dig a little bit deeper. There's more layers, and things have really gotten a lot more interesting with the way the Bills offense is running and operating right now. And I do think we might be underreacting a little bit to what's going on with Stephon Diggs. So let's dive into the numbers, shall we? Let's go ahead and do that. Ken Dorsey comes in, or when he was the OC, before Brady comes in and takes over, Diggs was sort of on his way to a typical, I'm the man, wide receiver one, dominant year. But since Joe Brady has ascended, taken over and done his thing, balanced the offense out a little bit, the yards per game less than half of what it was for Stephon Diggs. He scored just 1 touchdown in 5 games compared to the 7 that he scored when it was Dorsey calling the shots. And now his playing time is starting to dip as well. So the last 2 games, he's been out there on under 60% of snaps. That's a big difference compared to the 90% that he was averaging before Brady took over. Was he a Dorsey guy, not a Brady guy? I don't know. Sean McDermott has said that there aren't any injuries that, in quotes, he's aware of. So Diggs' playing time is just a coaching decision. That's what we can sort of boil that down to. Now, it's important to note, guys, that the Bills are 4-1. That the Bills have been a top 5 offense under Brady, and they were just 5 in time in Dorsey's tenure as the OC there. So I sort of love this, not for maybe Diggs, because like he obviously wants his numbers and all that, but they're a more balanced operation. They're spreading the ball. It's a good thing. Saturday's close call against the Chargers is sort of a warning. The Bills do maybe need to find a way to get this guy going if they continue to do what they're doing, which is be hot and get into the dance and make things happen. Sure, so it's a little bit of a spread the ball around. Yes, you're successful. Don't forget who your best player is here either, because that sort of happens in these playoff situations with this Bills team where you see Stephon demonstrative on the sideline, or we're watching these plays where he or even Gabe or whoever are wide open. You know, there's a lot of that going on. Feed your best player the ball in these big situations when big plays need to be made. Remember, he did it in that, oh man, he did it to the Saints with the mini miracle. He's done it over and over again in big spots. And I think some of this, whether or not it is dramatic or whether or not there's actually some legs to his being disgruntled, what's going on there in that offense, I do feel like it happens in the playoffs. It's in these big moments that matter more that this sort of stuff creeps up, and we don't want that for this Bills team. That wouldn't it be so fun if all we're doing is talking about the Niners and the Ravens and all of this and what's wrong with the Chiefs if the Bills just snuck in there and just beat everybody and won the Super Bowl for the first time? Wouldn't that be amazing? A story that everyone would root for? I would. Okay. There's a lot of narratives surrounding the Miami Dolphins, okay? And these narratives have focused and circled Tua and winning big games against competition and all sorts of other nonsense that I never bought into and never buy into and was never part of this show. But the one question I have had with this squad, and it goes way back to last year, is whether or not this defense can be good enough. Can this defense be good enough for them to make a run? Well, my question has been answered, because what's happened over the second half of the season has proven that they can do that with their defense. And we are not talking enough about how dominant defensively this team has been, because it's not maybe as flashy, and it's not Tyreek and Raheem Mostert and H.N. coming on my show to say who's the fastest. That's fine. But let's talk a little D here, people. How do you win championships with this stuff? They have, if I were to ask 100 of you who is the number 1 defense By whatever measure you feel over the second half of the season, I'm talking first in scoring, first in total, second in sacks, top 5 in turnovers, would you say the Dolphins? How many of you out of 100 would say the Dolphins? They've got the best defense. Not many, okay? This is the defense that ranked 24th a year ago. 24th that brings up those questions, those indictments, those concerns about whether or not they can do it. And this is a huge credit to a man who I love, who I hope is still in this business for a long time, and his name is Vic Fangio. And he's a brilliant defensive coordinator. He truly is. And it's not a coincidence that week 8 just happened to be Jalen Ramsey's first game as a Dolphin as well. Jalen ranks second in the NFL, allowing a measly 46.7% completion percentage when targeted. The Dolphins are allowing 181.8 yards per game through the air with him on the field. He's come back from that injury and instantly been all-pro Jalen yet again. A lot of people thought he couldn't, and he is. And by the way, Bradley Chubb deserves some credit here too. Remember, the Dolphins bet on his potential last year, dealing for him at the deadline, at the buzzer. And this year he's posted his first double-digit sack season since his rookie campaign in 2018. By the way, who leads the league in forced fumbles? That guy dancing right there. And sorry, Jalen Hurts. Sorry about ya. As I'm singing, that's Bradley Chubb right there. Don't get me wrong. I love Tua. I love what the Dolphins are doing on offense. And I like, of course, the salty Tua, and I like, what a lot of these fun players, the Waddles, these guys who populated our show and made, some time for us throughout the year. But is it not the defense that's really going to determine how far this team's going to go? It's hard to win a game. Everyone says that. It's hard to win a Super Bowl without a great defense. And we're going to see exactly how they do with the biggest test of the year. We were all over it for months now, this Baltimore Ravens team in Week 17. We'll see. We'll see if they can do it. All right, we're going to bring Gronk in. We're going to take a short break here. We've got lots to talk about. We got a fun announcement this month with Rob Gronkowski, but he's joining us from parts unknown. Guam is beautiful this time of year, and the Gronkster joins us after this. No, thank you. Dolphins in the AFC Championship game. Who says no? McDaniel's throwing shade at Dan Marino. Oh, yeah. We will have Phil Simms on tomorrow. We will ask about that guy's Debo tomorrow, which is great. We just found that out. I don't know what this is doing, but there it is. Gronk looks ready to go. Is that a historical hair one? Is it a what? This? No. Guys, this is Some Girls. This is the Rolling Stones. I had a Tom Petty here at some point, but I don't know where it went. Maybe we'll put our friend... Oh, I'm going to mess this all up. Maybe we'll put our friend Dolly over here to keep everyone company. Working 9 to 5. Do 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 do. There's Dolly. Oh shit. Oh, that happened. Okay, last week it was the Niners all the way. This week it's the Ravens. If they lose to the Dolphins, it's going to be the Dolphins next week. Which we called, by the way, that the Dolphins weren't going to get any love until they took care of business in these games. The Dolphins squad, best defense in the second half. I was surprised to see that. When Hamilton told me that, I was surprised. All right, we got Gronk. We got the music video. If y'all have questions for Mr. Rob Gronkowski, you let me know. Hey, Eric, if you can hear me, will you send me those questions in an email? It doesn't really help me when it's in the rundown because it's too hard for me to bounce up and down. I should have told you that. Just any way separate Google Doc or just the body of an email, that would be super helpful. Thanks, man. You can leave them in the rundown too, but just to have both. So I can pull it up on my phone, that would be great. Do, 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 do. Let me just tell everyone, the excuses people are coming up with, or that they're putting makeup on and saying are reasons that the Chiefs aren't doing well, They are bleak. Do, 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 do. Okay.
The old world tight end, the 6'7" freak.
You can call me the GOAT.
Rob Gronkowski. Touchdown!
Oh my goodness.
Go.
Holy guacamole!
The greatest of all time, yo, they call me the GOAT.
The Gronkster is here, 4-time Super Bowl champion, off of a Christmas, just in time for New Year's. Are you a New Year's guy, Rob?
Not really. I like to sit at home and just watch the New Year's ball get dropped right on TV. It's a lot of mayhem. It's a lot going on when you go out for New Year's. There's a lot of amateurs out there, and I'm not an amateur, Kay. So I'm a guy that sits at home and just chills out and just relaxes.
Did Santa bring you anything great this year?
Yes, I actually have the present right here, so let me grab it. You know I love treatments. You know I love massages. The secret thing for myself is I really love tickles, especially on my back. Camila and I were always tickling each other's back, but I got a scalp massager right here. It makes you just feel nice and comfortable and relaxes you, and it just always feels so good. Whenever I'm just chilling, I just use the scalp massager. It's my favorite gift I got this year. Thank you, Santa.
Santa, I mean, Will Ferrell as Elf must have put in a great word for you to get that amazing gift.
Also, I'll
Did
put
you
a
actually
flyer
ask
out.
somebody for that?
No, I didn't. They just knew. Santa just knew. And Will Ferrell put a good word in for me, like you said. So thank you, Will, as Santa's little helper, as being an elf. Thank you so much.
If you guys have questions for Gronk, hit me up, whether it's on Twitter at Up and Adam Show or in the YouTube chat. We're going to get some answers out of the Gronk today. But let's talk about some of these storylines in the NFL. I'm in this like Barbara Walters investigative reporting moment where I'm trying to figure out what the hell is happening with the Chiefs. Because I would never speak against them or think that they won't make it really far because they've proven me wrong. And like last year they did it without Tyreek and they did it and it was brilliant. And I feel like I'm expecting it to come together. Do you feel like it's going to come together for them, or do they have trouble written all over them?
They're having trouble right now. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they can't really put it together as an offense as a whole. And put up the points that they need to put up in order to win the game. But I do think they have a switch where they will be able to turn it up when it's necessary. Are they going to use that switch? I'm not sure. That will determine once the playoffs hit, if they can hit that switch and take it to that gear that they need to be at, like they have been over the last 3-4 years when they hit the playoffs. So that's going to be a question that will be determined when it comes to playoff time. If the Kansas City Chiefs can hit that switch, Travis Kelce can play his best game. The guys around him can play the best game as well. Kadarius Toney can pick it up a notch and fix all those mistakes. And if they do that, they will be lethal in the playoffs, and they will be able to beat any team if they turn it up to that notch that they know how to.
A lot of talk on Twitter about last week when you said that Kadarius Toney sort of looks like he might not love football as much based on how he's playing, some of the mistakes he's making. I mean, he did not play this weekend, yet they continue to look paltry. And Patrick and Travis, two first ballot Hall of Famers, people who say like are some of the best to ever play the position. The elevating of other people isn't really happening like we've seen it before, like we've seen it on offenses that you won 4 Super Bowl championships with. And I'm asking, Twitter, what's the difference? And, they can't say Tyreek Hill because he wasn't on the team last year. Maybe Eric Bieniemy because he left and he's probably really pretty disciplined. But I'm hearing a lot of stuff like this. I think the Chiefs are just worn down. How many big games have they played the last 4 to 5 years? Plus, they played deep in the playoffs. They've essentially played one extra season over the last year. And I'm like, Tom and Gronk did it. Like that's it. You did it year in year out. So I don't think, it's weird excuses. And I'm just like, I want to show the gif of Tom with all the rings.
Yes, but it's not really an excuse. If you're run down and you're tired, it's tough to go out there and play at a high level on the football field, especially when you're going with other athletes and other stars week in and week out on the other side of the ball. I mean, the defense, though, you got to give the Kansas City Chiefs defense some credit. There's a guy on that defensive side of the ball that I keep looking at, and I keep being surprised week in and week out at the level that he is playing at, just how good of a player he is, and that's L'Jarius Sneed. He's playing at a level Like, I don't even want to go one-on-one in my prime versus him. He knows how to jam a guy right off the ball. He's all up in the grill from the beginning. He's tackling guys in the backfield like he's a linebacker. That's a guy that has been lethal for the defense, who has been carrying the Kansas City Chiefs throughout the whole year now. But on the offensive side of the ball, yes, they look tired. They look run down. They look worn out. And they got to figure out how to get some rest, get some sleep, so they can come out there and play if they want to do some damage in the playoffs.
A lot of talk is happening about how Patrick Mahomes is being sort of more vocal. He's on the sidelines. People are saying he's whining. People are saying he's a baby. We've seen great quarterbacks do this. Brady was pretty vocal on the sidelines, back in the day. Why is Mahomes catching so much flack for this? What do you think? What's your read on this?
I wouldn't really look too much into Mahomes yelling at his teammates. It's kind of more of him being motivational, trying to spark the offense to go out there and make some plays. That's how I look at it. I'm saying the fans are calling him a crybaby, that he's a whiner right now, because he opened the gate after he complained about the referees about a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever that happened, when he was complaining that the refs were against him. But this situation right here, him yelling at his teammates, it's because he's being a leader. And that's what you want to see out of a quarterback. That's what makes him a great quarterback. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league right now, possibly one of the greatest of all times. That will be determined over the next few years, obviously. But yes, you want to see that out of a quarterback, someone who cares and someone who's trying to motivate and give the team a spark.
You liked the Cowboys going into the season. So did Taylor Lewan, who joins our show every week. And he was on yesterday, and he said that yesterday, after the loss to the Dolphins, he feels like they're further than ever than they've been all season from the Super Bowl, that he's losing faith in them. And, in a close game situation, Dak Prescott's MVP odds on FanDuel Sportsbook have plummeted. They are off the grid, off the map, below everybody, buried. What do you make of the Cowboys' chances at making a run in the NFC right now?
Yes, they are my Super Bowl favorites. Hopefully they prove me right. But as of right now, I don't see them really getting past the divisional round in the playoffs. They're going to have to go on the road in the division once the playoffs start. And they just haven't been able to get it done on the road either. I mean, they've lost 5 on the road. And another fact is that they're losing on the grass. When there's grass and it's an away game, they lose. So it's like they love the turf. I don't know why. It's just the fact that I was told that, they can't win on the grass or away games. But just overall, I see the Dallas Cowboys. They will be going on the road in the playoffs, and I see them losing the first game, the divisional game, on the road.
They might have to go to the team you won your last Super Bowl with. If the Bucks beat the Saints, by the way, the Bucks getting no love. They're about to win the NFC South. They've won a bunch straight. They look great after a really slow start to the season. They look good on offense and defense right now. The Cowboys, do they have a chance to go, if they had to go in through the Bucks, you give the Bucks that game with Baker Mayfield at quarterback over Dak, Mike McCarthy and company?
Oh, man, that's going to be a good game, actually. But I will have to give it to the Buccaneers. It's going to be a home game for the Bucks. If the Dallas Cowboys end up going there. And the way that the Buccaneers are playing, they are hitting their stride right now. It doesn't matter how you start. It's about how you finish. And the Cowboys, the Buccaneers, they did start pretty hot. They had some wins, and then they kind of crashed a little bit, lost 4 in a row or something. But now they're back. Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, they're all on the same page. The defense is playing pretty well also. So I can see the Buccaneers definitely turning it up. I mean, they're coming together as a team, and it would be great to see them get that win first week of the playoffs. But first, they got to take care of business versus Saints this week. Clinch a playoff spot, case. So we can't go too far about the Buccaneers until they clinch a spot, all right?
It is kind of interesting to hear you after we're in week 17 and you're finally coming off of the Cowboys a little bit, just like Taylor Lewan. So what is it in you, a 4-time Super Bowl champ's eyes, what is not passing the test? Because, they've been sort of up and down all year a little bit, and they've had these road struggles all year. What right now is giving you the hesitation? What's changed?
Because they had another chance to prove that they can win on the road, and they proved us, they proved everyone right that they can't win on the road versus the Miami Dolphins. They had another opportunity. The Miami Dolphins, a good, solid team. They were playing in Miami, and they lost that game once again. So therefore, the doubts of them, winning the playoffs, going on the road to win a game are all out the window. No one really believes in them. If they had a home game, yes, everyone would believe it in the Dallas Cowboys, but they're not going to have a home game in the playoffs now. So that's just out the window about the Dallas Cowboys winning in the playoffs now. And on top of it, they got to get the running game going. That's when they were winning with Tony Pollard was running the ball, going for 100+ yards. He only has 82 yards in the last two games total. They need to get the run game going if they want to win, if the Cowboys want to see their chances grow.
Is that a vacuum behind you? What is that?
Yeah, it is a vacuum. I like to keep my place clean, Kay. Even though it's a little messy, I just keep it there just to pretend that I'm a clean guy. But a vacuum's better. A vacuum's awesome. It does a great job. And it's one of the ones where you just plug in the wall and it just gets going and sucks everything right up. So, yeah, it's a vacuum.
Yeah. I don't know how many other kinds of vacuums are there. You just described it pretty well. I want to ask you, obviously, everybody watched the Ravens and the Niners, and all credit to Lamar and all of this. And then there's all these questions that come up about Brock Purdy because we just have to tear this kid down while he's having success for whatever reason people are doing that. Micah Parsons, as we talk about the Cowboys. So the Cowboys lose to the Dolphins. And afterwards, he's tweeting about Brock Purdy. And he's watching the Niners-Ravens game like everybody else. And he says, down 21 and there are no shots or development throws. Should tell you all you need to know. Is Micah, is this okay to do?
Okay, it's really weird that he's tweeting that out there. First, there's a saying out there: losers focus on winners, and winners focus on winning. And if you want to be a winner, you just got to focus on winning. It's really, really weird because in this case, though, Micah Parsons is one of the best defensive players in the league. He might win Defensive Player of the Year this year. But on top of it, it's a team game. It doesn't matter how good you are as an individual. It matters about a team. And it's weird that he's tweeting that after a loss versus Miami in Miami. And then he's tweeting that about a team that absolutely dismantled the Cowboys when they played them this year. So it's just weird to me because he's an outstanding player and he's doing his thing this year, but you're worried about the San Francisco 49ers and you're tweeting about them. I really don't know what else to say besides it's a weird situation. I really don't know how to break it down from there.
It's well said. Why do you think Brock Purdy and like Cam Newton is tweeting emojis like wanting him to fail? It's like this pitchfork thing for this kid. Why is he such a lightning rod, Brock Purdy?
Because he's humble, I guess, doesn't talk garbage. He's doing what he needs to do to get the job done. He was the last pick of the draft.
We should root for those stories. Like those are stories that we love.
Exactly. That's why it's difficult to explain. I mean, it's great to see Brock Purdy succeed. The last pick of the draft, it gives people hope in the future that are drafted in the 7th round, that are drafted in the 6th round. It's like Brady drafted in the 5th round. It gives people that hope that they can be, the next great player, even though they were passed on over 200 times and then picked in the 7th round or even picked as a undrafted free agent. So I like guys. I like seeing them succeed like Brock Purdy that were drafted last in the NFL draft. It's a great story. It's a great storyline. And I'm all in for Brock Purdy to succeed, and I want to see him succeed.
Do you think they'll make it to the Super Bowl after what you saw against the Ravens?
I think that game versus the Ravens was kind of a fluke. I mean, it wasn't a game that really mattered that much. It was a game that they could afford to drop because they can still win, the number 1 seed in the NFC if they just win out. So it wasn't a game that I would say that there was much hesitation to be great at. And then when that happens, the Baltimore Ravens, they were on fire. That was a game that they were throwing all their shots in the buckets to make sure that they won the game. And I feel like Coach Shanahan kind of kept it vanilla on the offensive side of the ball. I really won't look too much into this loss. I think the San Francisco 49ers are still the best team in the NFL, and I think they'll run the table once they hit the playoffs.
Ooh, a lot of power rankings disagreeing with that, putting the Ravens on top of the Niners. But Gronk is saying what Gronk says. I got to talk to you about tomorrow night's game. It's it's Jets-Browns, not that exciting. But the Browns do clinch a playoff spot if they get a win. Are people sleeping on this surging Brown squad? I think so.
Yes, I think the Browns will have a deep playoff run. I think everyone's sleeping on them. I think Coach Stefanski should be Coach of the Year, no doubt about it. This is his fourth quarterback this year that he has won with. I mean, name another time a coach has done that, won with 4 different quarterbacks, and at the helm of getting the top wild card seed in the playoffs if the Cleveland Browns win out, which they should. And then on top of it, Joe Flacco, what a story. What NFL fan is not cheering for Joe Flacco right now? It's the first time in history that the NFL, all the fans outside of Cleveland, is actually cheering for the Cleveland Browns to win because of the Joe Flacco story. So Joe Flacco has put Cleveland on the map like never seen before with the Cleveland Browns. So it's a really cool story. He's lights out right now. He just got off the couch a month ago. He leads the league in passing touchdowns, passing yards in the last month. So kudos to Joe Flacco doing what he's doing. And the only reason why the Cleveland Browns versus Jets is actually a cool game to kind of watch is because Joe Flacco was on the Jets the last couple of years and no one actually heard about him on the Jets because it's the Jets, and whenever you're on the Jets, I mean, you don't really get heard of that much because they're not that good. But also they rejected Joe Flacco this year. When freaking Aaron Rodgers went down, they rejected Joe Flacco on the New York Jets, and now look at him. I hope he absolutely dismantles the secondary on the New York Jets this week.
So your Super Bowl pick right now, if I'm hearing this correctly, and I'm inferring quite a bit, Brock Purdy versus Joe Flacco.
Possibly. I mean, I think the Cleveland Browns will have a deep playoff run. I think they're a Super Bowl contender. They're the only team that has beaten the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens, and they beat Baltimore and Baltimore, which is very, very impressive. And then obviously they got the #1 defense in football too, led by Myles Garrett, who's just an absolute freak show. So I think people are sleeping on the Cleveland Browns. I think they will have a deep playoff run, and it's going to be between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns, I think, who goes to the Super Bowl.
Okay, I got some questions for you coming in. These are from Twitter. These are from our YouTube Live as well. There's a bunch of these. There's Will Breen, Cheesehead Champ, Jesse Conway 48, and they're all asking, ask Gronk why he doesn't like the Packers. Why does Gronk be hating on the Packers?
Wait a second. When did I ever hate on the Packers? I really never hated on the Packers. When Thanksgiving came, I said how great they looked. It was they finally put an offensive game plan together where they were using all their players that they needed to use in order to beat the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. But I'm not a Packers hater at all. I actually think going to Lambeau Field and playing in Lambeau Field is one of the best football atmospheres in all of the NFL, actually in all of football. The field is right on top of you. The fans are going absolutely berserk, and it just feels like you're in the right place while playing a football game there. So I don't hate the Packers at all. You want to know who I hate? I don't really like the Jets, and I don't really like the Colts. So I don't know where the Packers came from. So I might have said something
I thought about
2 times about them, but that's all.
I thought about asking who you like worse, but you have to hate the Colts more than the Jets because the Jets sort of were fun for you. It was just like, it was easy for you to take care of business against the Jets and kind of fun. You didn't hate them, but the Colts were whiny and all of that.
Exactly. I actually, I just dislike the Jets. I don't really have a hatred for the Jets. It's just our rival in our division. But, and it was at the beginning of my career. But yes, the Colts, let me tell you, I do not like the Colts. I was just on Julian's podcast, Names of Games, actually. And we absolutely just dismantled the Colts. We ripped them apart. They were hanging banners for winning a division. They were always a little cocky, always talk garbage when they played us. We just romped them week in and week out every time we played them, especially in the playoffs. I don't like the Colts. I always loved, running up the score versus them. We dominated them in the pass game and in the run game as well. And we were dominating them so bad that they came up with the Deflategate BS because they needed an excuse why we were absolutely terrorizing them.
And Deflategate makes its way into the conversation. You guys did run very effectively on them, I will say. What is the most pizza rolls you've ever eaten in one sitting?
The most pizza rolls I've ever ate in one city, I would say, was at our ballpark growing up as a kid. It was called Lou Gehrig. There's about 10 fields there, and they sold pizza logs there. So I would say I probably had about 8 to 10 one day as a kid. and probably wanted to throw up after, but they were the best things out there. I think you could get a Grand Slam with 4 pizza logs for like $5 back in the day, and I ordered 2 Grand Slams, ate them all. So pizza logs, that's definitely a Buffalo thing as well, and they're delicious.
If New England Gronk challenged Tampa Gronk to a dance-off, who would win?
New England Gronk by far. When I was in my 20s, my dance moves were extraordinary, no doubt about that. I was like the Energizer Bunny on the dance floor. It didn't matter where I was, if I was in the end zone or if I was out on the dance floor at a bar or a club. I danced for literally 2 to 3 hours. That's why I said my partying helped me out on the field, because when I went out partying, it was really like more of a cardio when I went out. I would run around on the dance floor for 2 to 3 hours doing all type of different movements. So therefore, I was ready for practice that week because of my cardio I performed throughout on the weekends.
People want to know where they can get those Gronk Fitness shirts.
These Gronk Fitness shirts, these are actually the old school Gronk Fitness shirts. I actually just teamed up with Built Basics, and they're actually making all the Gronk Fitness products right now and all the Gronk Fitness merchandise, which is coming out next week. Actually, next month in January, we're actually dropping a whole new line of Gronk Fitness products, accessories, home gyms. So if you want to get fit, you want the best products in the game, you want the best merchandise in the game, check out Gronk Fitness next month when all our new products drop in January.
It's really well said. You were shot out of a cannon this morning. I'll ask you one more. We have Gridiron Girl saying, who in your opinion is the best blocking tight end right now? Maybe not flashy, but the most efficient in protection.
My favorite guy in the NFL, just overall complete tight end, is George Kittle. I just like his game overall. He blocks on reverses. He blocks 9 techniques when he's on the line with his hand down. He's a guy that wants to get dirty in the trenches, and then he's also a great player in the pass game. I would say if he was on a different offense, he'd probably have about 90 to 100 catches right now, but there's just so many players on the San Francisco 49ers to distribute the ball to, so his production in the pass game isn't up there, but he doesn't complain about it. He's a humble guy, and he gets it done in the run game and pass protection game as well.
It's really well said by you, Gronk, as always, and you picked, the Niners as the best team in the NFL still, even though they got their loss after this. We'll just bring in Debo to say hi. I mean, I would like to see Gronk in that offense. Run a little 11 out there. Debo can be used all over the field. Debo, what do you think? Gronk on the Niners?
Rob, what it do, man?
Yo, what it do? I mean, George Kittle would be the best complement tight end in the NFL to my game right now. We would complement each other. So George and I, we would have you out wide, Debo. We would have Ayuk on the other side to the left with Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. I mean, it'd be 12 personnel. We wouldn't come off the field, that offense right there. We would dominate like no other. We would absolutely dominate.
We got to put some speed at F at some point, don't we?
The speed where?
We got to put the speed.
That's George Kittle. He'll play the F. He's got some speed.
We'll talk to Debo after this. We have a lot to talk about. But don't worry, Debo. We already covered the Micah Parsons tweets. Gronk already let him have it. It's fine.
No, you guys still have real estate in his brain. That's pretty impressive. That's how bad you guys whooped him.
We'll be back after this. Debo's pretending he can't hear us. We'll be back after this break. He's being very clever and smart. We love that. Debo on the show after this. We'll be right back on Up and Adams. Can you guys make sure you can hear us okay? Let me know. Does Gronk have anything he wants to ask Debo? And can Debo hear me?
you ain't on the team. What do you like, Debo? Debo.
Man, I'm big. I'm big. I'm bad. I'm bad.
Debo Samuel, it's a foot race. My goodness.
I won't quit. Keep on grinding.
And he makes the catch.
Man, I'm big.
Debo Samuel joining us now. Usually we have him on Tuesdays. Lucky to have him here on a Wednesday. Rob Gronkowski was just on the show. Debo, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for popping on. I know you've got a lot going on, short week, big schedule. A loss. I was just talking to four-time Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski about it, and he said you guys didn't need the win. You still have the 1 seed. It wasn't that big of a deal. Like, whatever, we'll fix it. How do you feel a couple of days removed from that game?
After watching it a little bit, a lot of people say, like, we needed the loss or whatever the case may be, but whether we needed it or whether we needed it, we wanted to win every game. Like, we still got a number 1 seed. We still control our own destiny, and we just gonna move forward and take this day by day.
There were injuries, there was sickness, there were penalties in this one. There were Sam Darnold switches, like guys in and out. Trent on the sideline. I don't know if you saw that from the broadcast. You were obviously on the field seeing that all go down. What do you think, like in your words about the loss, like what happened out there?
Turnovers. We're not going to win a game if we turn the ball over 5 times, especially not 3 times in the first half. And at that point, at the end of the half, it's 16-12. After having 3 turnovers, just shows the character and the team that we have here. We just got to minimize those turnovers and stay out on the field longer and, sustain drives, and we'll be good.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy's never thrown 4 interceptions in any game in his career, whether it was college or his young NFL career. So he does this, and it's one game, one game of bad turnovers, whatever. And everyone is out with pitchforks waiting for this young player to fall. And this, for whatever reason, it doesn't happen to other quarterbacks. Other quarterbacks get excuses. He has one bad game against 15 great ones, and he gets crushed. Why is that?
I mean, it's the Niners. It's the effect that we have on everybody. I feel like nobody want to see us win, and they all quick to point fingers when things don't go the way they supposed to go. When everybody thinks that and know that like we're still the best team in the league. It's just crazy how much they try to harness or bring him down. I mean, the guy still threw for 255. It's just like it's the NFL. Like it's gonna happen, and you can't control how how tip balls flying 25, 30 feet in the air and just giving guys opportunity to catch them.
Yeah, and some of that's exactly right. When I was watching it, and it was Christmas, and everyone's having fun, and you guys are having to work, and it's like high pressure, high whatever for Brock Purdy, and everyone's just waiting for him to fall. I mean, some of that was just terrible luck.
Yeah, I mean, we had tip passes in there. We had like 5 tip balls like the game before, and didn't get too many, and we had a couple tips this past game, and it just wasn't falling our way. But I mean, at the end of the day, Baltimore's an outstanding team. They came to play, and we gave the people whatever they want. We gave the people what they wanted to see, but we didn't come out on top. But we just got to continue to move forward and hopefully see them again.
Is there something that you learned from this game, or that if you were to do it over, you would do differently, or want the team to do differently? Because you probably will see them again.
Probably nothing at all. Just minimize turnovers, and everything else take care of itself.
How are you after a game like that? Like, you have to pick yourself up. You have to get treatment. Oh, no, I think we might have lost Debo. What is this week like for you personally? Are you extra hard on yourself? Like, how does that affect you?
Not too hard on myself. I stick with the same routine day in and day out, coming in on the day after game and getting body work and stuff, and just getting the cardio back just to get ready for a next big game coming up.
When you finish this game and you see inevitably or hear that Micah Parsons, that y'all are still in his head after he loses to the Dolphins the same weekend, which is crazy, and you're the 1 seed and he's coming after your quarterback, what does that make you feel?
It's crazy. I don't know like what was said or what happened. Can you inform me?
Yeah, he tweeted this. He said, down 21 in their no shots or development throws should tell you all you need to know. And Cam Newton also tweeted a couple ha ha ha, I told you so kind of emojis, I think.
First of all, Cam Newton,
What do you
stop
make of
texting my
that?
phone, bro. He was a fan like 2 weeks ago. Like, that's mad crazy. Like, you wanted me on your podcast after talking about my quarterback, which is funny to me. But anyway, back to this Michael Parsons story. like, bro, we beat you 42 to like whatever the score may be. Like a long time ago. Like, I don't get why he's so bothered about what we got going on over here, or whatever the case may be. And I don't understand, like, you saying like you can be a quarterback in this offense. Like, I don't understand where you going with that.
Yeah, I don't know. They got a big game and an awful loss. It doesn't make sense, but he thinks he could. Yeah, I mean, he's keeping score of you guys, but you're the hunted, right? You're the ones that target on your back. You do have some good vibes, and you are so complimentary of Lamar Jackson, who obviously did his thing. He's obviously getting the MVP love, but you and OBJ were dapping up during pregame, which we loved because I like seeing wide receivers, hang out, show each other respect and all of that. And, you guys together at the end of the NFC Championship game last year. What's your relationship like with him?
Relationship pretty cool. We talk on a daily basis. During his rehab process, we stayed in communication. And once the season was over last year, I went to train down in Exos, and he was down there training. So, we stayed in touch then. And, I don't know why this keep going in and out, but it's just good to see him continue to grow and continue to be one of the guys in this league.
I'm sorry, you just told me you talk to Odell every day?
No, I said once a week. I say every day.
Oh, I thought you said every day. I was like, what?
Nah.
That's amazing. Now, we have to talk about this. You popped right off Marlon Humphrey when he tried to tackle you. Does this make, Debo, your top 5 list of hardest earned yak ever?
Man, what's so crazy? I think so. Yeah, that got to be number one. Cause like I didn't see him coming, feel him coming, or anything like that. Just like kind of caught me by surprise. But I think if he wrap up in that situation, he'll probably get a better lick on me right there.
You probably missed this. Chris Collinsworth on the NBC broadcast said during the Bills game last weekend that Gabe Davis has a little Debo Samuel in him. Do you agree with that?
I heard that watching the game. That was crazy because my dog definitely was out there breaking tackles. That boy had a day.
Yeah. You think he should get the ball a little more?
Huh?
You think Gabe Davis should get the ball a little more?
Hey, man, I ain't going to speak on anything I ain't have no control over.
They look good, though, the Bills. Nobody's talking about the Bills. It's very interesting. A lot of people were saying that the Rams are so... I don't know. Hello, you're on TV. Debo, who is that? Shout him out.
Nah, I'm in the media room at the stadium. I don't know why the camera keep going out like that.
Oh my gosh, that's I don't know who. Do you know who that was?
This my guy, man. I don't know what. Yeah, we're in here freaking out right now, but I don't know why the camera keep going out.
I love it. Okay, the Chiefs. I want to ask you about the Chiefs. They lost their chance at the 1 seed. The Raiders won. It was a wild weekend. Actually, no, I'm not even going to ask you about the Chiefs. Debo, anything else you want to talk about? What do you got going on? Washington Sunday. Sam Howell. Sam Howell's not the quarterback.
Yeah, we here at work right now. The Wednesday, the start of the week. So let's get rolling and get back on track, man.
Okay, well, we can't even see you anymore. But Debo, did you have a good Christmas? Did Tyshawn get all the presents?
Yeah, he got too many presents for a 2-year-old, not lying.
Oh, look at this. Did he get a dog?
Yeah, he got his dog yesterday.
What?
He got his little dog yesterday.
I love that. I didn't see any of this. This is amazing. He got a dog. We love it. Go beat Washington with Jacoby Brissett, veteran quarterback, taking over, and he looked good last week. The number 1 seed belongs to the San Francisco 49ers. Gronk thinks you're the best team in the NFL. I do too, and you're the best, and we always appreciate you, Debo. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, thank you.
Can't hear him, but stay blessed, and I love that we got the Niners media guy on the TV. We should get that out on Twitter. We'll be back with Gronk after this. What's up, man?
Hey.
So it's happening?
It's
what
happening.
I predicted?
Yeah. Reports are, Broncos are strongly considering having Russell sit for the final 2 games. Jarrett Stidham would be the quarterback.
We're at the Broncos Chargers game, Hamilton and I. And I saw Jarrett Stidham, and I just said, take a picture of him. I just have a feeling he's gonna be starting at some point. And you took an epic picture of Stidham. Yeah, and I literally said, this is the king. I just have a feeling. Yeah. Because Russell he's just so mad. And then this is before the sideline stuff. He just was not doing it. It's just not his quarterback. That's why I wanted to talk to Teddy Bridgewater. We were going to talk to Teddy, and it was literally only about Sean Payton was your coach in New Orleans. What does he want in a quarterback? Because it doesn't look like this is him.
Yeah. So there's another interesting element to this that Mike Garafolo just pointed out, that Russell's contract is only guaranteed. To him right now. Russell's contract is only guaranteed due to injury next year. So they're going to sit him to avoid him getting hurt, because then they can get the $37 million off the books that he's owed in a few years. So that's interesting. They might be moving on completely.
They are moving on completely. Russell was asked about his future, yesterday too, or the day before last, and he seemed very exasperated when asked about it.
It's not good right now.
We'll get that from Gronk. Do you have any support on that? All right, let's take a look at this tweet that just came in. This is what I was sort of not worried about, but thinking might be a thing if things didn't improve for the Broncos. Can I see the information? Okay, we don't have it. I don't know who's reporting it. Maybe Hamilton can get in here, and then we can bring Gronk in. Hamilton, who's reporting it? Ian?
Yeah, Ian Rappaport reported it. The wording is strongly considering having Russell Wilson sit for the final 2 games to preserve financial flexibility for the offseason.
Wilson has $37 million in 2025, blah, 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 blah. If he suffered a serious injury, it would complicate matters. Gronk, appreciate you, Hamilton. Gronk, get on in here. Sean Payton was doing so well. This defense looked better. The culture's better. You, of course, worked with him on Fox, and you appreciate him as a Super Bowl caliber coach. The him and Russell Wilson thing just doesn't seem to be vibing anyway.
No, it doesn't seem to be vibing at all. I don't think Russell Wilson is his guy. I'm not really sure how it sets up with his contract and everything sitting him the next 2 games. Obviously, if they can get out of his contract and get away from paying him next year, I'm not really sure how it works, or the year after, they're going to do that, the Denver Broncos. They're going to move on, and they're going to get strategic about this situation in order to move on where it doesn't hurt them financially, so they can come in and bring another quarterback in or draft a quarterback in the future this year or next year. But yes, it's not gelling with the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson isn't the leader that they were looking for, and I could possibly see Russell Wilson on a new team next year, as early as next year.
Now, I know that that Jarrett Stidham has a lot of respect in that locker room. I know I don't know how well you know him, or if you know him at all. Obviously, former Patriots, so maybe you've heard some things or whatever. Like Stidham having a big shot here. And a lot of these quarterbacks, like Tyrod Taylor, Jacoby Brissett, former teammate of yours, of course, and former Colt, unfortunately for you, getting a shot here. What do you make out of Stidham sort of potentially having a nice little opportunity here these last 2 weeks?
I'm not, I don't know that much about Jarrett Stidham. I know he was on the New England Patriots, but it was after I left. And then he was with the Las Vegas Raiders with Coach McDaniels, I think. And then he signed with the Denver Broncos this year. But I know this for one thing. I watched a preseason game with the Denver Broncos, and it was versus the Los Angeles Chargers. And Jarrett Stidham was the quarterback for the preseason game that year. And he absolutely lit up the Los Angeles Chargers defense from the first quarter all the way to the fourth quarter. And let me tell you, he was getting the team motivated. He was getting the team going. Yeah. That's what Sean Payton likes to see out of a quarterback, is what Jarrett Stidham has in him.
It's well said. Now, we did have Micah Parsons responded to you saying it's weird that he was talking about Brock Purdy. Here's what he said. Prime example of let's attack the person rather than addressing the topic. Yeah, because it's so weird a football player is talking about football on a website where you can write your thoughts and opinions, Rob.
Wow, that was fast. Wow. I mean, no, that's not weird. Everyone has their own opinion. I got to agree with that. Everyone has their own channel now with social media, but I still think it's weird that you're worried about another team, man. You just got to worry about what you can control, not what the other team is doing, and especially a team that you're not even playing, a team that absolutely dismantled you. That's all I got for that situation. I mean, Michael Parsons is a great defensive player. I can't take that away from
100%.
him. I think the players in the league.
I think Micah needs to come on the show. Micah and Rob next week.
Yeah, I mean, he's just worried about these other guys and other teams and media too much. I mean, I'm from New England. You block all that out, so that's why it's just weird to me. It might not be weird when when you're growing up in another organization, but to me, being under Coach Belichick, that's weird to me.
Yeah, Gronk, you're the best. Talk to you next week.
All right, take care.